Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. Amma ba'd. We have any questions before we make iftar? Any questions, Nafis?
I have a question. Can you say if somebody does an act of worship, like for instance, I've seen other people, somebody told me, and I never searched the text, and I'm just doing it off the basis of what somebody else taught me. I'm following what he taught me. Inshallah, that is authentic source, but do you think it will be, I might be getting a sin just because maybe I had a little doubt about it, but the brother told me to do it?
In Islam, there's two ways of getting something. Two ways of getting something. Imran, focus. The first way of getting something is getting it yourself. And the second way of getting something is getting it from someone else. And there's a third way, which is in the middle. And that is you not actually getting the information yourself. You do what? You take the information from another source. One of three things. Let me repeat that. Number one is you get it yourself. Number two, someone told you what to do. And the third way is someone brought you information, but you didn't find it your what? Yourself. Everybody understand this? So the first level is I've learned and I've studied Islam. I open up the Quran, I open up Sahih Bukhari, and the Hadith says do this, do that. The Quran says don't do that, and that's what I follow. Everybody can't do that, obviously. Everyone isn't a scholar. Everyone isn't a student of knowledge. Everyone doesn't have the understanding, the willingness to do that, and that's not obligatory. And the second level is for Riyadh, you to ask me a question, and I tell you the answer to the question, and I give you the proof. The reason why you can't sit like that is because a hadith and this book says such and such, so on and so forth. He says, Jazakallahu khairan. For you to take that from me, then you have to do what with me? Trust me and respect me. Not to be a liar and not to be someone of inaccuracies, that I know what I'm talking about. But did you yourself read it? No. But from the familiarity of the hadith, from me, so you have a general idea that Mufti is telling the truth. And the third way is for me to tell you don't sit like that. And you say Jazakallahu khairan, and then that's it. He takes my view, my opinion, based off of who I am, what he knows about me, what he thinks and feels about me, and that's it. So if you blindly followed someone and asked someone a question, they were a qualified scholar, that's one thing. If you yourself found out the information, and that's what? That's one thing. If someone brought the information, a trustworthy source, then that's what? That's one thing. But the problem is in me following you, or you following me, and I'm totally what? Unqualified. You blindly follow me, and I don't know what I'm talking about. I never studied, I never learned. I'm just some average Joe Blow type of imam. That's a problem. That's what? That's a problem. If Riyadh, if he was that simple-minded, not saying that he is, but if he was, and he thought that any imam is a scholar, then that's one thing. Perhaps he can have an excuse. But Riyadh is smart, and he knows the difference between gold and between silver. Just because he's an imam of a masjid does not mean that he has knowledge. Riyadh understands that from his common sense, from his family teaching him, his father, he knows that common sense, that doesn't make sense. And he blindly follows someone who isn't qualified, then he's going to get sin. Because he's following his what? His desires. Well, Imam Mufti said it, so khalas. That doesn't mean Imam Mufti has knowledge. You know that he doesn't have knowledge. You know that he's unqualified to be followed. So if a Muslim followed someone that was a good Islamic role model, that had knowledge, that was known for knowledge, that's one scenario. If you just follow anybody that came on the television, or anybody looked like this, or walks like this, or talks like that, then that's what? That's a problem. So it depends on who you're asking and who you're following. And the religion is simplicity. Nothing about the religion is difficult. Simple, easy religion. My job as a layman Muslim is to ask someone who has a ilm. It's just simple. If he's wrong, whose mistake is it? His mistake, not mine. If he lied to me, it's not what? It's not my problem. With the condition that I asked someone that was what? Knowledgeable and trustworthy. Knowledgeable and what? Trustworthy. Someone that had integrity and had the proper qualifications. It is not my job to read and search everything. I work 12 hours out the day. I have a wife. I have 5 children. I'm not a real smart type of guy. I never learned Arabic. It's not obligatory. But it is obligatory for me to use my brain just a little bit. And that is by asking someone that I see from a distance and I respect him. I respect his religion. He prays in the masjid. He covers himself. I don't see him with women and drinking and smoking and this. I respect his deen. And I also respect the knowledge that he has. As for someone whose knowledge I really don't what? Really don't respect. I really don't respect his deen and I still ask him questions, then I am now what? At fault. And the confusion has come, brothers and sisters. The confusion and everything has come by these three levels being mixed up. The blind follower becomes a scholar, and the scholar wishes to blindly follow. And enforce it upon the people. You have to ask my sheikh, you have to ask him, only him. He's the mullah, he's the mufti, the sheikh of hadith. He can tell you, no one else can tell you. Or someone says you have to read it yourself. You can't ask the scholar, you have to read it yourself. The people have lost their proper what? Roles. They lost their what? Their proper roles. That's not your job to research. It is not your job to be a sheep or a blind follower. You're a hafiz of Quran, ya akhi. You know Arabic. Your job is to do what? Research. Everybody understand this? You're in the middle. You're not strong enough to be by yourself, nor are you to be what? On the basic level. The problem comes when the people do what? Switch their roles. And it becomes cloudy. And that's the chaos that we live in today. A scholar becomes a jahil, and the jahil becomes a what? A scholar, unfortunately. And then there's fanaticism, there's bigotry, there's prejudice, there's racism, and all of these things are mixed up. And that's why fiqh seems so difficult. Abu Hanifa, Shafi'i, Malik, flan. It's so hard, it's so difficult. Without the proper what? Knowledge, the rules, the fundamentals. Without law, there's no what? There's no order. Allahu A'lam. Follow.
In the hadith, when it says disobeyed Qasim, can we say that they get a sin? Whoever does? No.
Hadith says, or the question says, in the hadith it says, فَقَدْ عَصَى أَبَا الْقَاسِمِ. He has disobeyed Abu al-Qasim. Does it mean that you get a sin? We say first and foremost, this is according to the Sahabi. This is the companion's statement. It's not the Prophet's statement. Doesn't mean that it's not true, but it's not what? Proper statement. So according to that Sahabi, if you disobey Abu Qasim, then without a doubt you get a sin. There's no second thought about that. And ma'siyah, disobedience, is never mentioned unless there is sin. Unless there's sin. Wallahu a'lam. Father Imran. When does a scholar become a jahil? How? Several ways. A scholar can become a jahil by being disobedient, by not implementing his knowledge. Even though he has a ton of knowledge, but he doesn't act upon it, then in actuality he's what? He's ignorant. Rather, he's worse than an ignorant person. And we also mentioned in the other night's class that the word ignorance can mean much more than lack of information. Being ignorant is to be foolish. You're an ignorant person because you're foolish. You don't have wisdom. Nah, you litter. You disrespect people. You're ignorant. You're an ignorant man. You're a fool. Everybody understand this? Being a fool doesn't mean that you don't have what? Knowledge. Everybody clear on this? A scholar can also be a jahil by disregarding his knowledge. He has information. Allah has given him talents, but he wishes to just follow. He's a greater person than me. Why even think? Everybody understand this? Wallahu a'lam. Any other questions?
So any sunnah, if somebody make violation, they will become under sense and
If anybody makes what?
violation of any sunnah.
Violation of sunnah?
Yeah.
It all depends on the sunnah. Some sunnah is wajib and some sunnah is recommended.
Like for example, after Maghrib, 2 rakat sunnah.
La. The only disobedience that a person will get is when something is fard or when something is haram, which is the sunnah as well. The Prophet ﷺ did certain things. That's from his sunnah, but it doesn't mean that it's fard. So therefore, the Prophet ﷺ in these hadiths, he told the people to do what? To complete Shaban. To do what? Complete Shaban. So this companion is saying, due to the fact that the Prophet ﷺ do not do it, and you're still going to do it, then you're doing what? You're making a sin. You're going against his instruction, his command, his amr. فَلْيَحْذَرَ الَّذِينَ يُخَالِفُونَ عَنْ أَمْرِهِ أَنْ تُصِيبَهُمْ فِتْنَةٌ أَوْ يُصِيبَهُمْ عَذَابٌ أَلِيمٌ. وَاللَّهُ أَعْلَمُ. تفضل.
What was the rule on taking from people that shave their face or trim their beard?
Question says, what is the ruling on taking from people who shave their faces or trim their beards? We say, in brief, in the lack of the time that we have here, in Islam, it is an obligation. It's not preference. It's not an option. It is virtuous. It is an obligation for a Muslim man to let his beard grow. It is unlawful for a Muslim man to shave his face. To shave his face. It's haram. So therefore, if it's haram, then it's a sin. And if it's a sin, then it is to be covered and hid from the people. You should hide your sins. I could drink a bottle of liquor at night and you may not know. You have no idea that I have a bottle of liquor in my house. You have no clue. But if I shave my face, the next morning, the next day, you know that I did what? I disobeyed. I did what? I disobeyed. So there are certain sins, when they're done in public, there lies no doubt. There's a huge problem than when they're done in what? In secret. The person is afraid, the person is shy, the person is bashful. Football. Finish tomorrow night, inshallah.